My mom refused to watch my kid, saying, I couldn't do it. So I texted her, "You're on your own now," and canceled every payment I made for her. Christmas Day, my dad showed up. The text message was brief, brutal, and sent with a trembling thumb. "I couldn't watch your kid. My mom refused. You're on your own now." I hit send, then immediately opened my banking app, canceling every automated payment as Christmas lights twinkled outside my window. The digital severance felt more final than any slammed door. I'm 31 years old. I should have known better than to expect anything else. But hope, that stubborn, foolish weed, had taken root once more. My dad had come over, a rare occurrence, and for a fleeting moment, I'd thought maybe the holiday spirit had thawed the perpetual frost in our family dynamics. I was wrong. I knew things were bad the moment I saw her expression. I'd gone to my parents' house to drop off an envelope of cash, extra for the holiday utilities, a habit so ingrained it was practically a religious rite. But when I let myself in, the scene in the living room was a punch to the gut. My mother, Margaret, was perched on the edge of the floral couch, a picture of vibrant health. Her laughter echoed in the room, a sound I rarely heard directed at me. On the floor at her feet were Lisa's 3 children, playing with new toys. And my mother, the woman who had tearfully claimed vertigo and debilitating fatigue to get out of watching my daughter, Mia, for a single night, was bouncing my youngest nephew on her knee, her face flushed with energy. My stomach dropped. The world seemed to freeze. The laughter died the instant they spotted me standing in the doorway, an uninvited specter at their feast. My mother's face paled for a split second, a crack in her carefully constructed facade, before she recovered, pasting on that saccharine smile I'd seen 1,000 times before. "Jake, what a surprise. I wasn't expecting you," she chirped, her voice a little too high. I couldn't speak. The envelope in my hand, once a symbol of my responsibility, now felt like a lead weight, a testament to my own gullibility. My eyes darted from my mother's performative smile to Lisa's kids, and finally to my dad, who seemed to be attempting to merge with the fabric of his recliner, his gaze fixed firmly on the television. "You said you couldn't watch Mia," I finally managed, my voice tight and foreign. "Because of your health." The room plunged into a silence so profound I could hear the ticking of the cheap plastic clock from the kitchen. My mother opened her mouth, then closed it, a goldfish out of water. But Lisa, always ready with a shield for our mother, jumped in. "She has too much on her plate, Jake," Lisa said, her tone dripping with condescension. "You wouldn't want her to overdo it." A familiar, hot pressure built behind my eyes. I kept my voice low, dangerously calm. "She's literally babysitting. Right now." My mother sighed, a dramatic, world-weary sound, and brought a hand to her temple as if my very presence was causing her migraines. The irony was a physical taste in my mouth. She began to explain, her words a well-rehearsed monologue. "It was different, you see. Lisa needed her help. Raising kids alone isn't easy." The floor seemed to disappear beneath me. 32 years of being second best, the reliable, boring son, crystallized in that single, damning moment. The forgotten birthdays, the missed school plays, the constant financial demands disguised as familial duty, it all clicked into a horrifying, perfect picture. "So," I said, my voice cutting through her excuses. "Lisa, who has never paid a single bill in her life, who you've bent over backward for since we were kids, she needs you more than I do?" Silence crashed down around us, heavy and suffocating. My father shifted, his leather recliner groaning in protest. Lisa rolled her eyes, a practiced gesture of dismissal. And my mother, she just shook her head, a sad, patronizing little motion as if I was a slow child failing to grasp a simple concept. "It's not like that, Jake," she insisted. But it was exactly like that. My jaw clenched so tight I felt a molar protest. The final piece of the puzzle slid into place. My mother's supposed illness wasn't about health, it was about control. A convenient lie to avoid inconvenient responsibilities while ensuring the monthly checks from her personal ATM kept clearing. And Lisa knew. She had always known. They were a team, and I was the opposing side, the mark. Something inside me, a dam holding back decades of frustration, resentment, and bitter disappointment, finally shattered. "I understand now," I told them, my voice eerily calm. "I finally get it. I was never really part of this family, was I? Just the backup plan. The safety net. The idiot who kept the lights on while you all lived your lives." My mother gasped, a hand flying to her chest. "How can you say that?" I cut her off, the dam now fully broken, a torrent of truth flooding out. No. What isn't fair is me paying your bills for years while you treated me like an afterthought. What isn't fair is me believing you actually needed my help when the truth is, you just didn't want to be bothered with me. You're a liar. Lisa leaned forward, that infuriating smirk twisting her lips. God, you're so dramatic, Jake. Mom has to tiptoe around you because you're so uptight. I turned my gaze to her, my expression carved from stone. And you're pathetic. You let Mom coddle you like you're still 15, and you eat it up because it's easier than taking responsibility for your own life. You deserve each other. Without another word, I turned and walked out. My mother called my name, her voice sharp. Lisa yelled something snarky I didn't catch. My father remained silent. I didn't stop. I couldn't. The drive home was a blur of streaking streetlights and the hollow echo of my own heartbeat. My hands trembled on the steering wheel. By the time I pulled into my driveway, the initial shock had been forged in the fire of my anger into cold, hard resolve. I knew what I had to do. Erin was waiting for me in the kitchen, Mia already asleep upstairs. One look at my face was all it took. What happened? She asked, her voice soft with a concern that was pure and real. I told her everything. The babysitting, the lies, the final, undeniable confirmation of what we'd both suspected for years. She didn't seem surprised. Maybe a part of her had always known too. What are you going to do? She asked. I'm done, I said, the words feeling like a vow. I'm just done. That night, I slept better than I had in years. The next morning, with a clarity that felt like a religious awakening, I canceled every payment. The rent, the utilities, the car insurance, the grocery deliveries. Everything. Then I sent one final text. You're on your own now. Good luck. I blocked their numbers. What followed was pure, predictable chaos. First came the missed calls, dozens of them, a frantic, digital pounding on my door before I reinforced the blocks. Then the emails, urgent, desperate, guilt-laden masterpieces. When those went unanswered, they started calling Erin. She declined each call with a quiet, determined satisfaction that made me fall in love with her all over again. Finally, Margaret took it public. A long, tearful Facebook post painted me as a monstrous son who had abandoned his poor, sick mother in her time of need. She wove a tapestry of sacrifice and ingratitude, a performance designed for an audience of sympathetic relatives and friends. I didn't take the bait. Instead, I wrote my own post. Without dramatics, I laid out the cold, hard truth. I detailed the years of financial support, my mother's lie about being too ill to watch her own granddaughter, and the scene I had walked in on. I stated, simply, that I was done being used. The reaction was immediate and brutal. The tide of public opinion turned. Family members I hadn't spoken to in years reached out with messages of support. Friends shared their own stories of toxic family dynamics. Even some of my parents' neighbors chimed in, mentioning they'd seen my mother gardening or shopping on days she'd claimed to be bedridden. Lisa's carefully crafted image as the struggling saint crumbled under the weight of questions about her spending habits and constant vacations. Then came the final act. 3 days later, a knock at my door. Through the peephole I saw them, Margaret and Frank, standing on my porch like desperate ghosts. My father's face was haggard, my mother's eyes were red-rimmed, though I wondered if the tears were genuine or just another Oscar-worthy performance. I opened the door but remained in the doorway, a human barrier. Jake, sweetheart, my mother began, her voice breaking on cue. Please, can we talk? We're your parents. So talk, I said, not moving. My father cleared his throat. Son, your mother is devastated. We both are. We never meant to hurt you. You didn't mean for me to find out, I corrected him coldly. There's a difference. My mother reached for my arm, but I stepped back. We can't make our rent this month, she pleaded, the real agenda finally emerging. The electric company is threatening to shut off the power. Is that what you want? Your parents living in the dark. The guilt trip was so transparent it was almost amusing. You have options, I said calmly. Dad can get a job. You can downsize. Lisa can finally contribute. Or you can keep playing these games and see where that gets you. My mother's expression hardened, the mask of victimhood slipping. After everything we've done for you, this is how you repay us? By throwing us out on the street. What exactly have you done for me, Mom? I asked, the question hanging in the air between us. Name one thing from the past decade that wasn't about what I could do for you. Silence. My father looked away, ashamed. My mother's mouth opened and closed, but no sound came out. There was nothing to say. The truth had stripped them bare. That's what I thought, I said. You made your choice. Now live with it. I shut the door. For the first time in my life, I was truly free. The guilt, the manipulation, the exhausting chase for a love that was never truly there, it was over. The next few weeks were peaceful in a way I had never known. Aaron and I took Mia to the beach. We started looking at houses in a better school district, a dream we'd deferred for years. I got a promotion, my focus no longer fractured by constant family emergencies. Of course, life is never that simple. The gossip reached me. My parents were spreading rumors that I'd had a mental breakdown. My aunt called to warn me. They're saying you've lost it, Jake. That it's a midlife crisis. Are you surprised? I asked. Not even a little, she admitted. Your mother can't stand losing control. She confirmed they were being evicted, that my father had tried and failed to get his old job back, that Lisa was begging for loans. A twinge of something, not guilt, but its ghost, passed through me. It's not my problem, I said, but my voice lacked its earlier conviction. Later, Aaron found me staring into the sunset from my office window. You gave them more chances than they deserved, she said, her hand on my shoulder. All they had to do was treat you with basic respect. They couldn't even do that. She was right. I knew she was right. 2 months passed. Life moved forward. Then, a Christmas card arrived, my mother's handwriting on the envelope. Inside, a generic holiday photo of them all, smiling as if nothing was wrong. On the back, a single, manipulative line. We miss you. I tossed it in the trash. That evening, as we decorated our tree, the doorbell rang. It was my father, alone. He looked smaller, older. Your mother doesn't know I'm here, he said, staring at his hands. I owe you an apology. A real one. He confessed it all. His cowardice. His complicity. He had stood by and watched it happen because it was easier than fighting. I don't expect forgiveness, he said, his voice rough. But you were right to walk away. I'm proud of you for having the courage I never did. The raw honesty disarmed me. What happens now? I asked. We're moving in with Lisa, he said with a grimace. Your mother's idea. The irony was perfect. He stood to leave. Merry Christmas, son. You're a better father than I ever was. After he left, I felt oddly shaken, but calm. It didn't fix the past, but it was an acknowledgement, a crack of light. Weeks later, a text from an unknown number. It's Lisa. Can we talk? We met at a coffee shop. She looked different, less polished, more real. She apologized, her words halting but sincere. She told me about the 2 months our parents had lived with her, the constant complaints, the entitlement. I couldn't take it, she admitted. You were right about everything. I'm sorry. I told her I appreciated the apology, but that it didn't erase decades of behavior. I know, she said quietly. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I see it now. I'm trying to be better. For my kids. And in that, I saw a glimmer of my sister, not the rival, but another victim of the same toxic dynamic, finally breaking free. We talked for a while longer about neutral things. It wasn't a reconciliation, but it was a beginning. A seed of something new, planted in the scorched earth of our past. That night, as I tucked Mia into bed, she looked up at me with her mother's eyes. Daddy, she said sleepily, are you happy? I kissed her forehead, breathing in the sweet, simple scent of her. Yes, sweetheart, I said. I'm very happy. And for the first time in as long as I could remember, it was the complete and utter truth. I was free. I was home.